Maya learned early that being agreeable made the world easier. In her childhood home in Ohio, quiet obedience was praised more than curiosity. When she asked too many questions, her mother would smile tightly and say, "Sweet girls don't argue." When she disagreed, her father would gently warn, "You don't want people to think you're difficult." So Maya learned to nod. At school, she shared her lunch when others forgot theirs. She let classmates copy her homework. When group projects went wrong, she took the blame. Teachers loved her. Friends relied on her. Everyone said she was so easy to be around. What no one noticed was how often she swallowed her own thoughts. Inside, Maya was loud. She noticed injustice when teachers favored certain students. She had opinions about books, about politics, about how girls were expected to shrink themselves while boys were encouraged to be bold. She felt anger when her ideas were ignored in class, only to be praised when a boy repeated them 5 minutes later. But she whispered those thoughts only to her reflection in the bathroom mirror. "Don't make waves," she told herself. "It's not worth it." In college, the pattern deepened. Maya majored in marketing, a field where confidence spoke louder than competence. During presentations, she let louder classmates dominate. When her group stole her ideas, she smiled and said, "It's fine." Professors saw her as reliable, but invisible. She worked part-time at a cafe near campus. Customers loved her calm voice and gentle smile. Her manager often scheduled her during rush hours because she never complained. Once, when a customer yelled at her for a delayed order, she apologized even though the mistake wasn't hers. After the man left, her coworker whispered, "You didn't do anything wrong." Maya shrugged. "It's okay. I don't want trouble." But trouble found her anyway quietly. By 26, Maya had a corporate job in Chicago. She sat in glass-walled meeting rooms where ideas were currency and volume equaled authority. Her male colleagues spoke with certainty, even when guessing. Maya prepared carefully, researched deeply, and still hesitated before raising her hand. When she did speak, she softened every sentence. "Maybe this is silly, but I could be wrong. But just a small thought." Her manager once told her during a review, "You're smart, Maya, but you need to be more assertive. People don't always notice you." She nodded, like she always did. That night, she stood in front of her bathroom mirror in her tiny apartment. Fluorescent light cast shadows under her eyes. "Why are you like this?" she asked her reflection. The woman staring back looked tired, capable. Invisible. Weeks later, the project that would change everything landed on her desk. It was a national campaign, huge budget, huge exposure. Maya had ideas that could redefine it. She stayed late, built models, tested concepts. She felt something rare, certainty. In the strategy meeting, her heart pounded as she opened her laptop. I've been thinking about a different angle," she began. Halfway through her explanation, a senior colleague interrupted. "What if we pivot to emotional storytelling instead?" he said. It was her idea. The room leaned toward him. Heads nodded. The manager smiled. "Great thinking," the manager said. "Let's explore that." Maya's throat tightened. She opened her mouth, closed it. The meeting ended with applause for someone else's vision. Back at her desk, her chest ached not with anger, but with something deeper, grief. Not for the lost credit, for herself. That evening, she skipped the train and walked along the river. Chicago's skyline glowed, confident and unapologetic. The wind cut through her coat. She thought of every "it's fine" she'd ever said, every swallowed truth. Every time she made herself smaller so others could feel larger. A thought surfaced, quiet but firm. Silence is costing you more than speaking ever could. At home, she opened a notebook she hadn't touched in years. On the first page, she wrote, "What would I say if I wasn't afraid?" Words poured out. Anger. Dreams. Boundaries. Ideas. Memories of moments she wished she had spoken. Her pen shook. Her chest felt lighter. The next morning, Maya stood outside the conference room, heart racing. The campaign was being finalized. She knew her idea was being presented without her. Her hand hovered over the door handle. Inside, a familiar voice whispered, "Don't be difficult. Don't embarrass yourself." Another voice knew, trembling but re-answered, "If you don't speak now, you never will." She pushed the door open. Every head turned. "I'm sorry," Maya said, voice unsteady, "but I need to clarify something." Her manager blinked. "Go ahead," she inhaled. "That strategy being discussed, it's mine. I developed it weeks ago. I shared it in draft form. I should have spoken up earlier, but I didn't, and that's on me. But I won't stay silent now." The room froze. Her pulse roared in her ears. But she kept going. "I believe in this approach, and I deserve to stand behind my work." For the first time in her life, she didn't whisper her truth. She spoke it, and the world did not collapse. The silence in the room felt heavier than any shout. Maya stood still, hands trembling at her sides. For a heartbeat, she feared she had destroyed everything: her reputation, her career, the fragile sense of belonging she had built by staying small. Then her manager spoke. "Is that true?" he asked, looking at the senior colleague. The man hesitated. "Well, she mentioned something similar, yes, but I expanded it." Maya lifted her chin. "You repeated it almost word for word." Her voice didn't shake this time. A few people shifted in their seats. One woman across the table met Maya's eyes and gave the slightest nod. The manager exhaled. "Maya, stay after this meeting." Every nerve in her body screamed. She returned to her chair, heart pounding, barely hearing the rest of the discussion. When the room finally emptied, she stood alone with him. "That took courage," he said. She braced herself. "I understand if this causes problems." He leaned back. "The problem existed long before you spoke. You did what you should have done weeks ago." Her breath caught. "You have good ideas," he continued, "but you hide them. You make yourself disappear. Today, you didn't." Maya swallowed. "I'm tired of disappearing." Something softened in his expression. "Then stop." That afternoon, an email went out crediting Maya as lead strategist on the campaign. She stared at the screen, stunned. But the real change didn't happen in her inbox. It happened in her spine. Over the next weeks, Maya practiced using her voice like a muscle that ached. It failed. Sometimes it cracked, but it grew stronger. When a colleague interrupted her, she said, "I wasn't finished." When a deadline was unreasonable, she said, "I need more time." When an idea mattered to her, she said it without apology. Not everyone liked it. Some coworkers labeled her different. A few called her intense. Once, a man joked, "Wow, Maya's spicy now." She smiled calmly. "I've always been this way. You're just hearing me now." Outside of work, the changes rippled. She told her friend she couldn't always be the one who canceled her plans. She told her mother, "When you say that, it hurts me." She told herself, "Your feelings are not an inconvenience." One evening, she caught her reflection in the same bathroom mirror. The woman staring back looked awake. Not louder, not aggressive, just real. Maya touched the glass and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up." Because the truth was simple. She had always had a voice. She had just been taught to whisper. And one day, she decided that silence was more painful than being seen. From that moment on, she chose to speak, not to dominate, but to exist fully. Not to fight, but to stand. And in doing so, she discovered that her truth was not a threat. It was her power. If this story touched your heart, remember, your voice matters. Don't shrink yourself for a world that needs your truth. Subscribe to Tales Studio for more stories that awaken courage, healing, and self-belief.